The major issue facing our world today is the topic of equal pay and rights between female and male athletes. The pay difference was first noticed in 1968 when professional tennis player Billie Jean King won her third Wimbledon and was only paid $846 compared to the male winner who received $2,300. Between this event and the next most influential event, about 45 years went by where nothing was heard about the issue of equal pay. Sports managers and companies tried their hardest to make sure it was kept under wraps, but not anymore. In recent years, women have been learning how to step up and use their voice. But before we talk about the movement happening right now, we need to know why there is a problem of equal pay in the first place. On July 7, 2015, Business Insider published an article titled, "Here's Why It's Fair That Female Athletes Make Less Than Men," written by Shane Farrow, attempting to explain the real reason why women make less than men. Overall, it was said because female sports produce less revenue than male sports. Wall Street then stated that there was a $17 million revenue for that year, 2015, compared to the 2014 male revenue being at about $529 million. Business Insider claimed that we shouldn't be asking why they are paid less. As viewers, we should be asking why we are less interested in female sports. People then believe that male sports are just more interesting than female. In an article written by Culture in 2015, it explains that male sports are more interesting because of media itself. They have higher production values, higher quality coverage, and higher quality commentary. Women, on the other hand, have fewer camera angles, fewer instant replays, and it makes the game seem slower than it actually is. Even if this is the case, it should not be the deciding factor on how much athletes get paid, and many others feel the same. The U.S. soccer team and the union representing the players began a lawsuit, filed by the top 5 players last month, over the validity of the team's collective bargaining agreement and the wage discrimination complaint. These women accused the U.S. Soccer of paying them a quarter of what the male team had received. This was stated in an article titled "Pay Disparity in U.S. Soccer, It's Complicated," written on April 21st by Andrew Doss. This chart, titled "Head on Payday," it shows the U.S. soccer pay between men and women since 2008. It can clearly be seen that men got paid significantly higher than the opposite female athlete did. Even with this fight, these big establishments still have the most influential counter-argument: male sports bring in more revenue than female. This is the number one reason as to why men and women are not receiving the same pay. But after 2015, the women's team brought in more than $23 million in game revenue, which was about $16 million more than the federation had projected. This next chart, titled "Rising Tide," shows the major difference in revenue between male and female athletes. In more recent years, right before 2016, it is shown that the women's soccer team brought in more revenue than the boys, at about $25 million, and the boys had about $22 million. This lit a fire in the women's soccer team and was the underlying factor in their fight against the U.S. Soccer Corporation. In an article titled "In Fight for Equality, U.S. Women's Soccer Team Leads the Way," also written by Andrew Doss on March 4, 2018, 2 years after the public fight began, the U.S. women's soccer team have emerged as a new role model for this fight. After seeing these women stand up, it has caused a wave of athletes to finally stand up for what they believe in. In an interview with Today, the top 4 out of 5 players, along with their lawyer, were present to talk about their opinion on the fight for equal pay.
Those players behind the push for equal pay are with us now. Hope Solo, Becky Sauerbrunn, Carly Lloyd, and Alex Morgan. They're joined by their attorney, Jeffrey Kessler. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
Carly, you don't just wake up one morning and say we're going to file a complaint with the EEOC and point a finger at U.S. soccer. This has been simmering for a while, but why does it come to a head now?
I think the timing is right. I think that we've proven our worth over the years. Just coming off of a World Cup win, and the pay disparity between the men and women is just too large, and we want to continue to fight. The generation of players before us fought, and now it's our job to keep on fighting.
Lady.
In another interview with Access Hollywood, U.S. soccer player Alex Morgan explains to the viewers the real difference in salary between female and male soccer players.
Not so much. How much of a disparity is there?
It's pretty big. I mean, when the information became public, I think so many people were just really taken aback by the pay discrepancy. And, we've fought our way, and so have the men. So, it's great to see where they are now, but I feel like, oh, look at that picture.
We have a graph, Alex,
Wow.
for people that want to know.
But yeah, I think for us having the success that we've had over the past couple of years, over the last 10 years really, but especially over the last 5, it's just, I think it's a no-brainer for them to invest in this and to see the future women's soccer to continue to grow.
All right, so that's...
This chart shown in the interview shows the average salary of the male soccer player being at about $100,000 and the female salary at about $72,000. No matter how many times they win or lose, their salary stays the same, but this is not the case for some women. They are paid depending on the amount of wins and losses they have. This chart and many others allow people to see the differences and is causing other athletes to go public with their concerns. Once teams figured out the difference, many more began participating in this movement. Another influential team was the U.S. female hockey team. Before the Pyeongchang Olympics, the U.S. hockey team was still dragging its feet because of marketing promises that were made to increase pay. They weren't given the wage they deserved and were prompt. The women's soccer team even showed their support towards the hockey team by hugging each other at the Olympics. Once other teams got word of what was happening to the hockey team, outrage grew. Nigerian players held a sit-in to demand unpaid salaries and wages after winning the African Championship. The Ireland team threatened to strike. Australian players had a strike in October, and Norway players demanded equal pay, and they won. More and more teams are standing up for what they know is right. In 2017, BBC News posted an article titled 100 Women, Is the Gender Pay Gap in Sport Really Closing?, written by Valeria Parasso, stating that the recent research suggests that the income difference between men and women has narrowed vastly over the past couple years. They stated that a total of 83% of sports now reward women and men equal prize money. 35 out of 44 sports that award prize money are paying equally, but not everyone believes that all athletes should receive the same awarded prize money. BBC News also published an article called Novak Djokovic Questions Equal Prize Money in Tennis, posted on March 21, 2016, about how a star tennis player Novak believed that women should fight for equal pay, but prize money should be awarded based on who attracts more attention, spectators, and who sells more tickets. At major events like Wimbledon and the Australian Open, co-ed events have equal prize money for the winners. As for female-only events, female tennis players are paid significantly less. In this chart, it compares the prize money from the tournaments leading up to the big events. The prize money between men and women is significantly different. Men are getting paid more than women. Once Serena Williams, number 1 ranked tennis player, was allowed to speak her opinion on unequal pay, this is what she said.
Hey, Sylvie's there. You and Venus also talked. It was interesting to me, and it kind of led the charge on the men versus the women pay thing.
You sacrifice so much, just as much as the guy next to me that's training every day, but he gets to be paid more. How do you explain that?
Exactly.
And so I could never really understand that. So Venus and I definitely did a lot of work. And so at the Grand Slams, it's definitely equal. Other tournaments, it's almost there, which is fine too. We're getting there, but it's work in progress, and we continue to fight the good fight.
It is very important that we as people be able to look up to these athletes to give us strength. Especially being a woman, you believe that if they can stand up for their rights, then you can too. Not only does this affect sports and professional athletes, but is also paving the way for equal pay in and out of sports. Inspiration from these athletes has sparked a voice in females in the business industries and places of work to speak up about equal pay problems. In recent years, it has become apparent that women's pay drops significantly when a female has a child or takes maternity time. This is a chart that explains this data. We can see that males' pay stays the same with the children, but when a woman has a child, her pay drops drastically. In order for there to be a change, we all need to stand up together. It is not fair to athletes and other workers to be paid differently because of their gender. If they can stand up for what they believe in, so can we.